Local artist Kimmy Henderson is turning her history with mental health struggles into art and inspiring others to do the same. Kimmy joining us this morning. She's going to talk about the Bipolar Butterfly Project and how it's helping folks with mental issues of their own. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Thanks
we
for
appreciate
having
it. And this was something, you call yourself an accidental artist.
Yes.
And you started doing this job, which grew really big. It's a great thing you had going.
Yeah, it's turning into its own thing. None of it was planned. I'm just stumbling along, growing it out.
But you went with butterflies as kind of a theme originally.
Yes. Okay. So originally, during my first manic episode, I am bipolar 1.
Okay.
I painted a butterfly, and butterflies represent metamorphosis and self-growth. And for some reason, I can't explain other than my manic brain, I painted the one side dripping away.
Yeah.
And I realized how well it represents mental illness, all mental illness, because on one side we're trying to show our best self, even if we're crumbling on the other.
Interesting.
So when I shared this, I just was overwhelmed with support and feedback. I decided to paint a series. And one day while I was painting, I heard a segment on NPR, plenty of awful statistics, but the one I could not get over was the #2 cause of death for 10 to 34-year-olds is suicide.
Wow.
I had a 10 and 13-year-old at the time, and I decided I'm going to use this to make change.
Yeah.
So.
And you've become an advocate
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
By not only doing the art that you have here, which is all over the place in stores, by the way, if you want to check it out, but also to do some of these classes and kind of educate people about it.
Yes, I've done workshops with all ages. I've done presentations from 10 to 300 people, and it's just about sharing the story and normalizing healthy conversation. I think the really big challenge for mental health is the stigma. And I think if we can dispel the stigma and help people feel comfortable addressing it, that's just going to make a huge difference.
Were you afraid at first to talk about it?
I am very transparent and very open book.
Just in general?
So, yeah, I guess a little bit when it started. I didn't know what kind of feedback I get, but quickly, people responded, and I've had nothing but good feedback since then. It's been about 5 years since the first installation. And since then, we have about 30 plus installations around Northeast Ohio.
And when you say an installation, like what?
Like a mural and a sculpture.
Okay, great.
And my goal is to pan out of Northeast Ohio. I would love to get one into every state eventually. And I really am hoping to establish a foundation where we can raise money for resources and research and offer grants to other artists to do this and just different programs.
Is the art a therapy then?
It's therapeutic. I'm not an art therapist, but I help therapeutic qualities of art.
Yeah.
That's why I love teaching classes too, because it helps people experience it.
Have you had people come up to you and go, boy, I'm so glad I did that. I do art now, and it's helping me.
Absolutely. Art is such an outlet for creative. Where you can't put words down on paper, you can create something meaningful.
Because it represents your feelings and stuff like that. And it's hard to kind of sometimes put pen to paper.
Absolutely.
But drawing is emotional.
Yeah, it's fluid, and it's just a beautiful way to let it out.
How did you know that you had bipolar? Were you
I was not diagnosed until I was 35. So a lot of people are diagnosed. There's a big chunk in their late teens and their 20s, and then there's another little bump later. I was the later bump, and I read once that results from high intelligence or high creativity.
Okay.
Mine would be creativity.
Yeah.
But like our brains are able to ride the highs and lows, through the hypostates.
Did you think growing up that you had any issues going on?
No, I did not. I really honestly seemed fine. However, after I was diagnosed, I can look back at my creative career and I can see there's times when I'm really creative, staying up, doing lots of projects, and times where I'm just not doing it.
That manic versus the other side.
Yes.
Did your family know?
No, not till I was 35. I originally built my brand. It's called Makiki's Art, which is Mama and Kiki mushed together.
Okay.
And I painted wine glasses, and I was selling worldwide, and I was featured in Success magazine. I was offered to sell with the national brand store, and business was booming. I was researching hiring someone versus royalties when I had my first episode. Okay. So that derailed that business completely.
So an episode, like, what did that mean to you?
Well, my mania is very spiritual, actually. I lose sleep. It feels good because you have all this energy and you're just confident. But once someone gets erratic, when they're not getting their sleep, and you do risky behaviors, a lot of people spend money, have grandiose ideas. Mine crossed over into delusion, and that's when I needed medication to bring me down.
Gotcha. When you talk to people in these classes, and are they there because they think they have an issue?
No, I haven't. Well, I'm currently being certified as a peer recovery support person, and I'm hoping to bring it to classes for my peers. But in general, my classes are mostly public and private. They just tell me as we're doing it how much therapeutic and cathartic the qualities are of it.
What do you want to get out to people as we talk about just mental health in general? It's been so much talk about it over the past couple of years, especially since the pandemic.
It's actually really good. I know there's a lot of negative about social media, but there's a lot of good. People are advocating. You've got influencers and celebrities and athletes and politicians. It's definitely been more of a highlight, and I just want people to be comfortable talking about it and to share their stories, because the more you hear, especially influential people, it gives you courage to recognize, okay, I need help.
That feeling that you're not alone. I'm not the only one going through this.
Absolutely. And the problem with diagnosis, a lot of people aren't diagnosed, and the average time from onset of symptoms to treatment is 11 years.
Wow.
So you've got incarceration and homelessness and substance abuse and like all these things that could be reduced if we had checked mental health.
It's the Bipolar Butterfly Project. For more information on how you can see some of Kimmy's installations as well and get more information, head over to our website, fox8.com. Thanks for coming in and sharing your story with us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.